All right, Don Julio makes you act a foolio. Will that be all for you? Okay, that'll be 140.15. What's that? Why is this one more expensive than that one? Well, they're not the same product. I know they look the same, but this is a Blanco and this is a Cristalino. Do you know the difference? Okay, well, would you like me to explain it to you? All right, let's get started. If you're not too familiar with tequila, all the terminology can be complex and kind of daunting, but I feel like after this video, you'll have a better understanding of tequila, which will make it a lot more enjoyable. All right. So when you look at tequila, you have four main groups generally. You have Blanco, Reposado, Añejo, and Cristalino. Yes, there are other subsets and other variations of tequila, but these are the four main ones that you should generally know about. And terminology like this might be a lot for you to take in at once. Walking down the tequila aisle, it might feel like you need a chemistry degree to understand all of this. That is not the case. So we're going to take this piece by piece. Let's start with Blanco. So even though those two tequilas look the same, one was a Cristalino and one was a Blanco. The Cristalino has been aged, whereas the Blanco was bottled shortly after being distilled. A Blanco or a silver or a plata, these are interchangeable terms for an unaged tequila, has only been aged for less than 60 days, usually 59 days. Any day after 59, it legally becomes a reposado. So this is what a tequila looks like when it's freshly made. It's been let rest for a little bit, and then it's put in a bottle. Now, Blanco and silver and plata, those are interchangeable industry terms that mean it clear, unaged tequila. Before we move on into dark tequilas, there's one trap that you need to be aware of. How do you know if it's a genuine like reposado or just a mixto? A mixto is something that you're going to see gold or something like that, but they cannot say reposado. And basically, to legally be tequila, it only has to be 51% like natural agave sugars, and then the rest of it is additives, corn sugar, cane sugar, just cheap stuff that gives you a hangover. Now, if you look at this, this Jose Cuervo does not say Reposado, it says gold. Same as this Margaritaville. So the only dark tequila here that's a genuine Reposado is the Don Julio because they let the barrel do the work. When they put the Blanco in the barrel, they let it age, and that's where the flavor and caramel notes come in. These two are artificially done. That's the companies, they're not legally required to say if it's a mixto. They just have to put tequila. That's all they have to put because that's all they're legally required to do. So they don't have to disclose that there's additives. I mean, yes, they do, but they don't have to be as obvious about it, right? So you're going to see tequila, you're going to think it's all willy nilly, and the next day your head is going to hurt. But in order to be a reposado, they have to say a 100% Blue Weber agave or 100% agave. Like they have to be upfront about that. If not, it's a mixto and you are not getting a pure product. So the general breakdown is reposado is naturally colored, mixtos are artificially colored. There is an exception to the rule, a third subcategory called Joven, where that's where you take an añejo and mix it with a blanco, and that gives you a unique flavor profile from that blend. So that's really the main difference for the darks. You just have to take your time and understand that, and you'll be able to get the right product. Now, there may be some top tier tequilas that go by gold instead of reposado, but that is not very common. Go ahead. All right, so before we dive deeper into darker tequilas, we should talk about the difference between a reposado and an añejo. A reposado has to be aged in an oak barrel from anywhere between 2 months to 12 months. And anything longer than that, it becomes an añejo. An añejo is normally aged between 1 to 3 years. If it's aged any longer than 3 years, it becomes an extra añejo. The longer it ages, the smoother it becomes, the richer it becomes, the flavor profile just changes. So basically, like a reposado will be a little bit more crisp. The añejo is going to adopt more of the barrel wood because it's just been sitting there. It's going to have more notes of like that dark, rich caramel, and it's going to be more emphasized than it is in the reposado. So a reposado, you're not necessarily supposed to mix, but it's okay to make premium cocktails with reposados and blancos. you definitely don't want to mix in an Añejo. That's for sipping neat. This is something comparable to a nice bourbon, like a premium bourbon or a fine scotch. And one more thing about the añejo, just to ensure that the tequila gets maximum contact with the wood, the liter size of the barrel cannot extend 600. It cannot go past 600 liters for a barrel, and that's what keeps it compact, keeps it from getting too, I guess, diluted. Okay, so now that we've covered the dark liquors, we're back to square one. Cristalino. And in the beginning, you were trying to figure out the difference between Cristalino and Blanco because they were both clear. A Cristalino starts off as a aged tequila, either an añejo or a reposado that's been stripped of its coloring. Right before it's bottled, the distiller runs it through a charcoal filtration process, and that makes it clear again, but it still retains some of the character and flavor of an aged tequila. Now, I will let you guys know, sometimes it takes away some of the flavoring. It strips it away during the filtration process, and some companies try to like cheat and put some additives in to make up for that. So you definitely want to make sure when you buy a Cristalino that it's still saying 100% agave, and just making sure that they're not cutting corners, because as you know, it's up to the consumer these days to figure out what's right and wrong, and that's why we're making these videos, to help you guys make that easier. Go ahead. So before we end this video, I just want to recap: silver and blanco interchangeable, gold and reposado, they're absolutely not interchangeable. Make sure you look for 100% agave written on the bottle. And now, hopefully, you have a better understanding of the different varieties of tequila, and that helps you with your decision making and makes your tequila experience a lot more enjoyable. Please only drink if you're of legal drinking age and if you're in proper health to do so. And also keep in mind that prices vary, selection varies depending on where you are in the world. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And feel free to check out my other videos. I have videos about vodka, more videos about tequila and rum. And we're going to keep putting them out there. So stay tuned. Have a good day, guys.